Oh shit! What are we talking about? Is it Monday? Is it Monday Night Bears? What is
Monday Night Bears.
dude? Gnarly. Interesting. You should hold up those hams, man, because I'm rocking right here.
Ooh.
Friend of the show, friend of every show I do, Eric Lamora sent us each one of these ham shirts and four various Miller related hats.
Nice.
That's funny. I haven't seen mine yet.
Well, listen, dude, goddamn pandemic. I'm trying to get it across here best I can.
Neither rain nor snow nor dark of night.
I should have brought it when I came over to try to jump the ride, dude. I didn't think.
That's true.
I really want that one. There's one of those Miller hats I really want.
I know the exact one. I know the exact
All right, call dibs. Call dibs. Call dibs.
There's one in there that it's fucking so hot. But I have a lot of hats right now. I'm willing to let you guys fight it out.
You get dibs. No, because I don't think anyone else is going to sweat that because that's a hard top, like framed up hat, and these boys don't rock that way.
I feel like Burnsy, I want you to have it. I think it look good on you.
And you got to ask for stuff you want.
Shit, man. Well, we're happy to see you back. Greg Johnson was in your stead, and he did a great job. But come on, Burnsy is the man.
I'll tell you what, I was real excited, because I rolled in. I had some morning drinks. I didn't drive home from out of town, and I got back it was like 3:30. I'm like, I could do this, and like. Instead, I'm just gonna have some cocktails out on the porch. I gotta ease in.
That's fine. That's fair.
Yeah.
GJ did a good job. Always love to hear from GJ.
Oh, for sure. I love that at night. I put that on the TV at like 10 o'clock and just hung out with you guys. Good time.
The unique perspective. Gnarly, are we rocking the same coos here?
I believe so, man.
Nice.
From the last time we were free.
That's right. You got this for me, dude. Thank you.
That's
January, man. That was a good hang in January.
Couple of Twinkies. I'm doing that. Here's that glass I was so pumped about. Remember I bought that 5th of Jim Beam at Bill's, $14.99, and it came with this dope, like one of those beer can glasses. It's got the nice Jim Beam on the back.
Oh, sick.
Dodger, like it was a no-brainer. I was so excited. I would have paid $15 for this cool glass.
I got this Jim Beam glass right here.
Is that glass or plastic?
It's plastic.
Hell yeah, it is.
You keep that in your back pocket, eh?
Keep it in my desk for when I'm, working.
It's like your batting glove.
I'm actually this is not a beer. This is a hard cider, one of those Golden State Baileys.
Nice.
Keeping it trim.
Yeah.
Mingstein has chimed in and he would like to know regional hot sauce. What's your go-to when you're back home?
Michigan?
Yeah, right. I'll tell you, my quarantine hot sauce has been Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be sort of Cajun related or something. I'm not positive, but
yeah,
Louisiana.
Crystal hot sauce has been my jam during this shit.
Michigan hot sauce is just like Miracle Whip.
Put some pepper in your Miracle Whip.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there is. Man, there's just weird regional stuff in Michigan. Hot sauce is not one of them. It's not even close. I'm going to say this is what I miss about Michigan are wet burritos.
Mm.
Yes.
I'll take you go get a wet burrito, bro.
The sauce going to be right, though.
I got you, man. We'll go to El Tepeyac. They'll fuck your shit. Ugh.
If it's that nice, rich, brownish color sauce, I'm in. I don't want it when it's like tomato-y based.
I got you, Bernsey. We'll figure it out.
You know what I want? I want that enchilada taste.
Yeah, it's called El Tepeyac, dude. The Hollenbeck burrito just comes big as shit to where like you can't even pick it up. You have to. It's like a fork and knife situation, but it's like covered in the sauce. It's so fucking tight.
God, do they give me a sour cream on there? Because I need sour cream.
You could ask, yeah. They got mad at me when I asked for a California burrito. I was like, "You guys have fries?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Can you put that in the burrito for me?" And they're like, "Fuck." I'm like, "Sorry."
Yeah, it's one of those things where Michigan, like, I'm sure there are hot sauces that people make just like fucking, craft beer, but there is not one that sort of like has been or is pervasive across, like, that everybody remembers from Michigan or the area, right?
Maybe that's why I have such a low tolerance for heat.
Probably.
I pretty much top out at like red pepper flakes and mild Tabasco sauce. That's about, and I do like those, but I can't. My whole head sweats. I can't do much hot sauce.
There definitely has to be some because it goes hand in hand with like anyone who owns a craft beer store.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, like that Grand Rapids has become the beer capital of the world, some say.
Amway.
Of the country, not the world, country. Amway.
Charlie, what are you saucing?
I mean, since I'm from here, I guess my main sauce has been the Louisiana hot sauce, the blue and yellow label. And then the home one, I guess, would be like Tapatio. Like that was just always on deck. Just standard household item growing up with the top ramen.
Yeah.
Or like, what's that other sauce? You like it,
Cholula?
Burns? The Yucatan.
Oh,
That one's kind of a staple too.
Yeah, I use that.
man.
My must have is that green Yucateo hot.
That with sour cream is tight.
That is like I put that on burgers. I put that on. I'll just sit there in the kitchen with a bag of chips and I just take a chip and then just one little drop, just a little.
Gnarly, did you get that big old jug of Old Bay hot sauce yet?
I didn't order it. I bought those pans instead.
Okay. The Old Bay
Yeah, I
hot
told you I
sauce
was
is very
eyeballing.
curious. I want to try that shit.
I will get it though. I mean, I get paid Tuesday. I'll make that happen. I got a bunch of side jobs cracking. You can make that happen. What did I send you? It's like 64 ounces. The jug.
Yeah, it was like it was like a fucking big jug.
It
of
was straight from like a wholesale like Websterant, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Where they had like the deep fryers that I can't buy because I don't have the right like electronic hookup.
You got to get your shit rewired, dude, if you want to fry properly. Our man Rob Sacuzo, always good for something here on Mondays. When the Monday Night Beers pod turns into the greatest story ever told and Hollywood makes the movie about it, who is going to play each of you?
Chris D'Elia.
Oh God.
Comeback role of a lifetime.
It'll be available.
Yeah. Straight from the, you'll have to film his shots in the fucking halfway house.
I don't know. Who's that guy from Big Fish who's mean to his dad? You guys know what I'm talking about?
I've never seen Big Fish.
He's the naked guy in Watchmen, the movie. He's in Sleepers too. Good cheekbones.
Billy Crudup?
Is that who that is?
I mean, he was in
his
Sleepers and
name.
he's got,
He's not the guy with the mustache or Ethan Hawke, the other guy.
okay.
Kind of looks like Richard Ramirez a little bit, maybe.
That sounds like Billy Crudup.
Yeah,
Might be him.
it does.
Nice. That's a good cast.
Yeah.
What about you, Bernsey?
Gary Oldman. Gary
Oldman. That's a good one.
Nice.
I get Gary Oldman a lot if I've got the glasses on. And
Like Gary Oldman in The Professional. He's got like the beard.
yeah,
I see that.
I gotta lean out though. That fighting shape more so, but I'm core bloated.
That's
Well-
me right now, dude. I'm all fucked up.
I think pre-pandemic, I'd like maybe Statham or Bruce Willis. But if they got to shoot some pandemic scenes, then just let Travolta do this. Let him put the beard on, and
You could go Bonnie Prince Billy with that beard.
yeah, he's got some acting chops, right?
Yeah, he started off in the John Sayles movie.
Rolled him.
If you get Statham, he's gonna have to stand on a few apple boxes, I think.
I get a lot of people want to say I look like the Bob's Burger guy. What the fuck's his name?
Oh, John Benjamin?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
I wouldn't say that.
Pop,
I
who
thought you
you
were talking
got?
about like a character on the show. I was like, who?
I don't know.
Pick someone sexy, Pop.
Young Paul Newman, like 35-year-old Paul. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I've gotten like John Cusack before. At like comedy shows, people have told me I look like Adam Sandler before.
Cusack could be good for you. I'd like.
I do like Michael Shannon.
Mm,
We don't really look alike, but I'll have Michael Shannon play me.
he's a chameleon.
Yeah, and he can be like, when he can get angry and like just complain about stuff. That'll be me.
I wouldn't hate to see Nicolas Cage do gnarly.
Oh yeah, that could work.
He's a chameleon.
Yeah.
So someone's like, he wasn't 6 foot. He was 5'7". This is a lie. Why is he so tall?
Hey, they fix that in post, Gnarly. You don't worry about that.
Nah, Nick Cage is cool. I like Nick Cage.
Movie magic, baby.
Yeah. That seems great.
Mike O'Keefe, favorite Michigan bands? Seeger, Bob Seeger and the Silver Bullet Band, of course.
Stooges, they're from Michigan.
Stooges.
Stooges,
I mean,
MC5.
Blanket statement, Motown.
Motown is a blanket statement.
No, I mean, it's hard to pick like one, but just like, we got Motown. My favorite band is Motown.
Negative Approach.
Pretty good
There you
t-shirt.
go. There's a ton of Michigan bands. Madonna.
He's
Are
actually
you
He's
gonna
from
name one
Michigan?
you actually like?
Yeah. No, I mean, you can't argue Madonna's got some good tunes.
She got some tracks.
I definitely wouldn't say she's my favorite band, but she is from Michigan. She's better than like, the Verve Pipe.
hey.
MC Breed.
Sponge, Esham,
Esham.
ICP.
I'll say favorite rapper Esham, Easy, and favorite rock band is Bob Seger. Those are two easy answers, I think.
That
Yeah.
Band from Death, they're from there too, right?
Yep. Detroit.
White Stripes are good. I got a little burned out on that band, but I saw them a bunch of times. They're good.
Oh, sure.
But I think you got to go the ultimate. Probably Seeger, MC5, Stooges, Motown. And I ain't trying to hear techno, so don't give me this techno shit, even though Detroit invented it.
Damn, you guys are to blame for that shit?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do none of that.
I can do some Saturday Looks Good to Me.
Did you ever? Oh yeah, of course. So, Vint, did you ever go to 3 Floors of Fun back in the day?
I did. It was as a straight edge kid who had no game. It was not a great time.
Yeah, I went like once with my girlfriend. I was like 19, and if you guys don't know, it's this club in Detroit. And there's 3 floors, and it's like house music, industrial, and just like straight techno or something. And it's just like a rave. And even when I was like young, I was like, I hate fucking nightclubs. And my girlfriend was dancing, and I was just sitting in the stairwell drinking and smoking cigarettes, waiting to be able to leave. And then she comes back and she goes, "You're boring." And I said, "This is boring." And then, well, we didn't wind up dating that long.
Oh,
And you should have done the five-man shuffle.
There was also, I'll tell you what, we were also crossing the border into Canada to go gamble and drink. And I'm driving, and we get up to the border, and she pulls out of her purse all these fucking drugs, like pot. And I was like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this?" And she's "It's fine." And then I was like, I was mad. I was like, "What if we get?" And then she goes, "Jesse, don't make me choose between you and drugs, because I'll choose drugs."
That chick's crazy.
dude, my buddy Kyle Krawick, who I love, but the 2 times in my life where I was certain that I was fucking going to jail was pretty much due to him. And one was crossing into Canada. We're in this car, and whoever was driving, my other buddy, like, there's a couple roaches in the fucking ashtray and shit. And we're pulling up, and Krawick just like puts his face against the back window and like looked like he was mentally ill or something. And so of course they're like over. And so my other buddy just starts eating these roaches. out
Oh
of the
my
fucking
God.
thing, and they tore everything out of the car or whatever, but it was just like so unnecessary if you just don't act like an idiot, you know?
What's that documentary about hockey? It's not the Detroit 5, but it's on
Russian
Amazon
5.
about the Russian 5, but it's about the other guy,
Robert?
Robert, where he's at the
Oh, yeah.
border, and they told him, like, "Yo, maybe you should go to the bathroom and, like, flush some stuff," and he's like, "Nah." They're like, "Go to the bathroom and, like, flush some stuff," and he's like, "No," and they busted him for, like, 14.5 grams of coke, I think it was, or
Yeah.
something.
Rob Probert's a maniac. Well, he's dead. Was a
Yeah,
maniac.
that story was kind of rough, man.
Yeah.
But that's back in the day when, like, the 80s, you could still kind of, if you're famous, you could just kind of make stuff go away.
Well, I mean, it sounded like they were trying to help him make it go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, "Go flush it," and he's like, "Nah."
How about Probert?
Around that era, up until like 90s, or still now probably, you can go in like a dive bar in Saginaw or any place in Michigan outside. There's just Probert fight highlights. Like that was a thing. I remember every bar would, like at happy hour, just be Proby highlights of just fights. Everyone's like getting real ramped up in there.
Yeah. Well, I remember it was when him and Kosher were like the two big bruisers on the wings, and this photo was in Sports Illustrated of Kosher's knuckles, and they were all just fucking just destroyed from like clipping people in the head, probably.
Yeah.
What do you remember? Was it Sheldon Kennedy?
From the
He
Dodgers?
was, no, he was on the wings, and he was kind of I don't know if he was a bruiser, but he was like a party guy. One time at a Tiger game, me and my mom and I were sitting next to him, and him and his buddy were like blasted, like in another universe, and like smoking butts, and like my mom yelled at him because they were swearing. And I was like, that's like the guy from the fucking Red Wings.
Well, I'll hit this story. Everyone here knows it, but you know, it's a show. When I went and saw Beck on either
Love
I
this
think it was
story.
Odelay. No, not Odelay. What was the not
It was when he was
Mutations.
Mutations. Yeah.
So it was like he was doing an acoustic show at the Michigan Theater, and I'm like in the front or second row of the balcony and waiting for the show to start, and I just hear a guy saying the most stupid shit behind me where I was like, oh, somebody's dad brought him and the dad sucks. And he finally said something like, oh yeah, this is it on my back. It was so infected. I had to whatever. And I just did the like, it was fucking Kirk Gibson. So I'm like, oh shit, I got better seats than Kirk Gibson. But then, you know, it's a quiet show, and him and his wife or girlfriend or whatever were just talking the whole time. They finally left early, thankfully, but it did not paint Kirk Gibson in a great light for me.
Loved Gibby when I was a kid, but I could see him being like the dumbest meathead on earth.
Also, like he probably, you know, he's got a lot of money. He just popped in like, well, I don't know, Beck, I hear this guy's cool.
This is a weird thing though. Him and his wife were talking about, oh, remember we saw him in New York, and they were fans, but they were just the shittiest, like not paying attention. I don't know if they thought like he was gonna play fucking loser and he didn't, or what.
What if you love Beck, but you only like Loser, and you travel around the country and
Play loser.
Grand Scheme on Instagram, which is Pop and Maya's good buddy Dave Sarah. He says, what would you name your boat if you had one, or your party store if you owned one?
Party store would just be party, dude. Then I think the boat would just be called party. Dude.
Those are the two perfect answers.
Yeah, just party, man.
Party.
Gnarly cut to the quick and found the two boat.
I always want a boat named the Sea Slut. and then people will be like, who's the Sea Slut? And I'll just be like, me.
You're looking at him.
There's a sea slut.
Is Michigan the only place that calls liquor stores party stores?
Pretty much.
I think so.
Maybe it might grip into Ohio or something, but I had to, when I made that Dad Boner program, I wanted the sign outside the liquor store to say party store, not liquor store specifically. I'm like, it doesn't say that in Grand Blanc. And I had to go, when I was at home, I had to take photos of party stores because no one would believe me that like.
That's so funny.
It was every single party store in my whole town. I took a picture of it. I go, see, party store, party store, party store. It's not a liquor store.
The first time I went to New York, I was hanging out with some people, and I was like, I got to stop at a party store. And they're like, what do you mean? They were like, what do you mean, like balloons? I go, no, I got to get cigarettes. They did not know what I was talking about.
I mean, as a kid, I loved going to the party store. Party store meant get a pretzel rod out of the jar, and there was like always Snapping Pops and sparklers.
Garbage Pail Kids.
Kids, like baseball cards, gum, candy, like.
Yeah, we would get you'd collect like $3 or $4 and ride your bike up to the party store, get a couple baseball cards, get some Fun Dip, maybe.
We rocked a lot
Fun
of
Dip.
Joe gum. Like I remember, you get that green apple Bazooka Joe, and then you get the comic, and then you get the points. And we saved those for years and never. I don't think anyone knew actually how to get those points to Bazooka Joe.
What if that's like Bitcoin now, where the Bazooka Joe points are like worth $1 million?
I think for obvious reasons, but the party store would always sweat you on returnables.
Hmm.
So I would always just end up going to, there was a grocery store, an IGA right next to an Arbor Drug. So I would like run my cans back to the grocery store where it was basically a free for all. Because there was no one's barcoding them. You could sometimes just slip some fucking Country Time or shit in there that didn't have.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
before the machine, yeah, you just walk up and be like, "Hey, Ernie, I got 820 or something."
and
And then,
maybe some other kid had to count them for you.
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
weren't like, yeah.
What the fuck is that rule anyway? That like if it's carbonated, it has a deposit. If it isn't, it doesn't. That's what. Who made that rule up?
Right. It's very strange. But Michigan is still king with the 10-cent per can.
Hmm. Dude, when you're broke and like 20 and you have a party and the next day you take all the empties back and you get like
Yeah, you buy
13 bucks.
weed.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you this scam. I had a buddy whose older brother worked at IGA in Saginaw, and he would take 12 packs of pop and replace it with beer, like in the back of the store, and then tape the box back up, and then put those all out on the just 12 packs break up. They just throw that clear tape on them, put them on the shelf, and then when we were like 14, 15 years old, we'd roll in there on our bikes and each buy a 12 pack of pop. And it was filled with beers, and then we'd kick it to the dude, and he'd give us like $2 because we didn't drink yet.
Nice.
Anybody else got a name for their boat or party store? I think it's just you and me and Pop that haven't come with a name. Maybe
My
I'll name
party
my
store-
boat Gnarly.
No.
My party store, I'll name, let's see, party store. Let's name it K Money's. We'll name it a Carl thing.
Hey, money.
I'm going to call my boat Chet Lemon.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
that's
And,
dope.
and I'll call my party store party store.
Mm.
Generic. I like businesses that don't come up with names. Like it just says like tire store or Chinese food.
Uh-huh.
I kind of respect that.
Those rule.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna call it party store.
I think one of my favorite ways people name businesses is when you start like a bar or restaurant in a old hardware store space, and they retain the same sign and just call it that.
Mm-hmm.
I always like that move. Like it's just it just doesn't change the landscape that way.
Maybe I'll call my party store ABV. So it could be alcohol by volume, or you could make up your own. It could be a mystery. It could lead to some more interest.
I don't know if the sea slut is what I want to go with.
These
And
look cool, man.
now here's the other. Do you sell whippets to teenagers?
Do I?
Yeah, or do you keep them on? You keep them on the level.
Or like at the Gulfside Market, where I had some buddies who worked on the border of Ypsi and Ann Arbor. Do you sell the little tiny rose in a glass vial that's in fact just a crack pipe and everybody knows
Yeah.
it?
Oh, those rule too. I always wondered what those were. And then I smoked meth in high school and I was like, oh, is that what you use these for?
Like, what do you do with the rose?
I bought those for like to just smoke weed out of real quick, like because you just
Okay.
pack it in the end. Like I don't have any apparatus and I'm drunk. I bought those. Same shit. I don't think they're pre-used gnarly.
Yeah, I said hoo-hoo. And I was like, yeah, I smoked meth out of mine.
My creepy Uncle Sam, he is, when I was taught about racism for the first time, I was 8. I specifically remember proudly declaring I'm not racist because my favorite athletes are Sammy Sosa and Amon Green and Ben Wallace. So it's amazing to see some full-grown adults use the same argument as dumb fucking second grader. What are y'all's first memory of learning about racism? Why do y'all think it's important to continue to talk about? Blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, I'll begin by saying we've already said on this show Black Lives Matter and they always will. And I just think it's pretty obvious why we need to continue discussing it, and that is there is a systemic racism issue in this country, epidemic in this country that maybe is being brought to light more now than ever. And there are the people who are absolutely on the wrong side of it, but I think there are a lot of people, myself included, who are still learning and figuring out how to be a part of the solution, because just being okay with people of color or saying I've never done anything is not enough. You have to figure out what your role truly is and what you've allowed to happen and what you can do to try to fix it now. So that would be my answer as to why we have to keep talking about it, because we are so far from repairing it, and we are just starting to maybe even talk about it on some small level. It feels like.
Yeah, I think that, just you go about your day and you think that, I know everything. I don't know. There's so much shit that I've read in the last month just because it's brought to the forefront that, like, oh no, I'm not educated enough. Like, I didn't know shit about the Tulsa stuff. I learned that from Watchmen, like that shouldn't be that way. Someone should have told you that. And even like the Central Park 5, I watched that, the TV program, the drama that they made out of it. I didn't know, I knew the story because I read little bits of it, but I didn't know that much to that extent of it. And I think the more that you start to expose yourself to those things, I think you start to, feel the urge to try and make a difference in some way. And like there's so much stuff that's you're bombarded with all day, and it's hard to sift through all of it. Like, so for me, I just pick a couple things that I can consistently, champion, like the Breonna Taylor thing. That's, I lean into that. I feel for that chick. She's from Grand Rapids, just focusing on those things. I also like if I'm going to kick money, it goes to people, getting people out of jail who are there wrongfully,
Yeah,
and
I think it's just about figuring out how to be helpful and an ally, and not just, it's fine to regurgitate and it's fine to, post a photo or whatever, but really trying to figure out, what your part in it is and how you can really make a lasting difference. Because I'm sure we all have people in our lives who are still a little ignorant on it, if not more than a little.
Oh, I got like 2 on my side. I can't stand them. But I was lucky enough to grow up like with 2 parents who like instilled that in me at a very young age. Like, I'm not here unless my dad swims from Chile and like he got persecuted against and other type of shit. And then we just, like, my dad had like a lot of African American friends. Like, I grew up around African Americans too, like family friends, like parties and hangouts and shit. Like, I don't know. I've always been diverse and shit. Yeah, but that's just me. And then like growing up in LA too, I guess was obviously different than growing up in Michigan, like where you guys were.
yeah, I mean, I think we wouldn't be as, all of us have lived in New York and you lived in Detroit. I lived in Chicago, and like, I think as you are in more diverse communities like that, like things don't, like you don't, it just becomes people, like, whereas in Michigan, in a small town, it's like people view people as segregated. Like, these are those people, these are these people,
But I will say one of the light bulbs for me though has really been, that like Southern California is supposed to be this, liberal bubble or whatever you want to call it, but it's like, it's still just full of hate,
Yeah, I remember like when I first met you, I like telling you like, yeah, like Orange County fucking sucks. And you're like, word? And you're like, oh shit, like, yeah, Orange County does suck, dude. Like, these little pockets of bullshit in California.
And and like, yeah, a lot of liberals out here are fucking racist as hell. But yeah, even as someone like I grew up, we're like in Metro Detroit, it's super diverse as a whole, but it's very segregated, even by race and by class. Like, I grew up in a mostly white neighborhood, but like literally the next street light over was like a black neighborhood. And then as you move up, it gets into richer people, and then even in Detroit itself, there's like, a black block and a Mexican block. And a lot of people just kind of stay in their zone and never actually never meet other people, and just by virtue of the jobs that I worked, I lived in Detroit. I got to know, I got to live in Detroit, and it's like fucked up. Even like, I'll tell you a quick story. Like, when I was a kid, this is like the difference between, am I rambling here?
Oh,
You're
dude.
good, dude.
Well, like the difference between like growing up like white working class and growing up like poor and black. When I was a kid, there was an abandoned school next to mine, and there's an urban legend that like a serial killer lived in it. And then like, I think only the dumbest kids actually believed it. But so my friends and I went in there a few times, and like, we didn't get killed. It is, busted out windows and rotted floors and classes full of like trash and overturned desks. And then when I was like 25, I had to go to a school in Detroit for work, and it looked like that. You know what I mean? And
Damn.
everything, all the businesses are fucked up. Everything, and I
that's-
think, yeah, and I think like there's all this talk about checking your privilege on it, which is good, but we need to talk about how this actually functions and what is going on.
Well,
know,
that's
how,
that's the thing. The systemic part of it is that there are almost every function of society in the United States has been set up for the disadvantage of people of color. And that's just
Yeah.
reality.
And then people but just people online where they're like, whoa, well, I'm not racist or something. It's like, that's not even what the fucking point is, dude. And it just like, it's, I don't know. I just feel, yeah.
Gotta read shit. You just
Yeah.
gotta every day read shit. And
Well, education in this country is a huge problem.
Oh
across the
shit.
board. So, and educating people and educating them about shit, like you said, you never learned about Tulsa, what Juneteenth was, whatever it is, that's just never been taught, and it's all part and parcel to the fucked up nature of how American society has been set about and acted out.
well said.
VIP on Swole.
Woo woo.
Now this VIP, you can't be chiming in here after you had a couple Miller Lights. Let's see. Whataburger is trash. Please discuss my personal opinion amongst yourselves.
Just in his Tampa Bay jersey, just.
I'll say this. I don't. I've had Whataburger, I think, once or twice, and it never fucking was a home run for me. I thought it was fine, but I definitely went into it thinking like, oh, this is supposed to be one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And it was both, late night drive-through, which hopefully shouldn't be a huge effect, but I didn't find Whataburger to be the transcendent item that others have.
Never been to Whataburger.
I only had it once, and I don't know, 20 years ago, I was at a Phoenix Suns game, and I remember I thought it was really good, but I was at a basketball game having a real good time. So I was like,
Oh, it was in the game?
yeah,
Like they had it in the. Oh, okay.
yeah, and I remember people I went with were like, we got to get Whataburgers, and everyone was pumped, and it was fine, but I don't like have this
Yeah.
very clear memory of like, oh yeah, that was the shit. I'd have to try it again though. I love the wrappers. Like, there's something about that orange logo on the wrapper looks good.
No, the vibe is good. I would do it again. My recollection too, and I wouldn't have been fucked up either time because it would have been after a show, but I just don't remember it knocking me out.
What is it closest to? What is it? Is it like close to Wendy's? Is it
It
close?
reminds me of like Carl's Jr. almost, like that kind of style.
Okay.
What's your experience, Nara?
I mean, people try to always make it like, oh, Whataburger and In-N-Out. Those are two different beasts. In-N-Out's a top quality burger. Whataburger's like a good, like, just fast food, like trash. That's like what you want. They have a bigger menu. Like the burger's okay. I like that they have jalapeno ranch, which is pretty dope. You get a big serving of it. But they also have a Texas toast chicken strip sandwich, which is pretty badass. I had that before. It's great. But it's just like another like shitty restaurant, but it's like regional. So like you go get it. It's like Rallies. I would say it's like Rallies.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Rallies is good.
But Rallies is better because wider menu and they have Oreo shakes.
see, like Carl's Jr. like does nothing for me, but Rallies. Now you're talking my language. Like
I got some frozen seasoned fries right now in my freezer.
Olive Burger
Yep.
at Rallies, right? They got the Olive Burger.
Yeah,
They
Big
make-
Bufords.
I don't know if they have it here. They had it when we were kids in Michigan, and Hot Now also had a good olive burger.
Hot now. Fucking
Hot-
hot now.
Hot Now, remember Hot Now? They have 39-cent hamburgers.
Oh yeah, Hot Now. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was sort of like even cheaper than White Castle.
Hot
It
Now,
was sort of
Hot Now's thing were that their burgers were 39 or 50 cents for a cheeseburger.
Hot and now?
Hot and Now.
yeah.
And in the only drive-through, no inside restaurant. They had like a red vibe of like an old oil change place, I guess. And They also had a dynamite chicken sandwich, and they had olive burgers. But I've been making
Damn.
olive burgers at home on the reg. I think I had explained this to Gnarly. Like
It's a cool ass logo.
people outside of Michigan don't know olive burgers. It sounds. I've screwed up some people's heads telling them that. Bill Thomas Halo Burger, I think, is the real originator from
Well, I remember.
Halo Burger is dynamite.
What did Hardee's turned into something
Carl's
else?
Jr.
Oh,
Carl's
okay.
Jr.
But
That's
in
re-
Michigan, we never had Carl's Jr., but we did have a Hardee's for a while.
Hardee's
Do you
is
guys like apple turnovers? I don't like them. Do you guys like them?
I like them.
I'll eat one.
Whataburger used to have, I think they still might have a apple turnover shake that's supposed to be badass.
Arby's had apple turnovers, right? Wasn't it Arby's? that
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
I
Turnovers?
also love the I went to Arby's the other day
Lucky.
on the way back from camping.
I will say, In-N-Out.
Beef and cheddar fries. Sorry. Good.
You put the Arby's sauce on there?
Oh yeah, baby.
That's
You don't like
too
it?
Sweet. Too sweet.
Damn, I go heavy on that
Vince,
shit.
you're too sweet.
It's been said. It's been said. But In-N-Out is the only fast food, if you want to call it that is like never once made me feel like shit after. It's like you eat it, and there isn't any of that, like, almost every other
If they
fast
fuck
food.
you up, they're giving you free food.
Yeah.
They always take care of you if they fuck up.
Like White Castle is a joke restaurant for something that gives you the shits and it sucks. But I'm telling you, dude, I used to live right by one. If you get like 3 cheeseburgers and 1 chicken, 2 cheeseburgers and a chicken, you never go over the line. It's good. You feel good.
Love
You
White
feel-
Castle.
you come home from a comedy show back in like 2004. You get 3 cheese, 1 chicken. You have a beer. Go to bed.
That sounds like you need so much discipline to do that, though. Like,
No, you just got to be fucked up enough by the point you get there. Well, maybe I'll try to dig up that picture of you, Pop, with all those fucking empty White Castles in front of you.
Oh, that was, you know what that was? That was like one of
a few
the
of us. It was a few of us. Right?
I did that because that was a Kentucky Derby day,
Yes.
and we got drunk as hell. And then I went to White Castle, and then I had to go into Manhattan to do some show. And I went on stage pretty lit up, and it went okay. And
In your recollection.
yeah.
I don't know how I used to do that. Like on the reg for the entirety of my stand-up career was you day drink and hang out all day with your buds, have like 15 beers, and then get in a cab or get on the train wherever you leave, and then go to a show and drink like 6 to 8 more beers, perform, do a fine job, and then like it's just.
I think
practice.
there's like an entry, like if you have to do like 45 minutes or like an hour, you got to go up pretty straight or it's not going to work. But 7 minutes, you could wake me up at 3 a.m. and say, do 7 minutes. And I could just do it.
That's the thing. Once you got the muscles, once you got the muscle working, it's like, because I can think of shows like Cabin or Kingdom of Heaven where it's like, you if you weren't fucked up when you went on, it was strange. It's like, that's just what happened, and it was fine. And then of course, the onset of the shows where you purposefully got high, a little different beast.
I did those a couple times. I did not like that.
Yeah, that was a different deal. Even though you might be both when you go on normally, but just getting fucking super baked was never a great thing for me. But
I have one very vivid memory of going up. I think I only went up high on stage once in the entire time I lived in New York. And it was at Cabin. And I remember sitting down on the stool because I certainly wasn't able to handle any marijuana at that point in my life. Hat down, just fucking tried to make words happen for 7 minutes. I never did it again. Never.
Well, the thing was, those shows where it was like a known thing for the crowd and for you, like the people who just tried to go on and do their act were fucked. It was they're high, you're high, they know you're high. You just gotta like be weird. And my thing was I could only ever make it a few minutes because the first time there was even a slight pause, I would go, they hate me. I gotta leave now. You know, like everything's going good, and there's just the slightest pause, and I was just like, no.
Because like when I smoke pot, I think everyone's staring at me, and I can only just stand up. I'm just barely like suppressing my everybody's staring at me. I don't want to do this thing. And then so when I'm stoned and doing stand up, I'm just like, this is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah,
I
like,
can't-
Magnified all badass.
Let the record show the new album. Don't even worry about it. Shot to #1 on iTunes. Thanks to everyone who bought
Yes.
that.
so fun.
Limited cassette tapes are available at capsulerecords.limitedrun.com.
And then,
Ted Cotta, what are the top 5 affordable brand beers and preference for can or bottle for each?
What? Well, again,
Big time.
what's the question?
He wants to know what are our top 5 like not nice beers, and each of those, do you like it more in a bottle or can? So for like me, right, it's like High Life in a bottle, 1.
I agree.
Probably
MGD 64 can.
Silver
Just kidding.
Bullets in a can. Hams in a can.
I like Modelo in a bottle. Throw that on the list. If you guys fuck with that too.
Modelo in a
Modelo's
bottle.
a cheap. Modelo in a bottle is great.
I
I
don't
like.
mind a Labatt in a bottle.
Bat in a bottle's clean.
I don't fuck with the big Modelos very often though because they don't fit koozies or like my Yeti thing.
Uh-huh.
It gets warm.
You can squeeze one into one of these.
I think I have.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got one. I have one of your We Watch Wrestling ones that I've used specifically for that because it's all stretched out. I use that for oversized stuff.
The 6 years I lived in New York, when I wasn't at a bar, I pretty much lived off of Coors Tall Boys.
This is
That's
Banquet.
5.
Does Pacifico count?
Yeah.
I'm going to let it count.
I like Pacifico in a can. Just because a can's cool. That yellow, just that bright ass yellow with the cool anchor.
Does
and the
Sierra
little-
Nevada count as there's places where that's an affordable beer.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
on
it's
sale
not
at
like
Vaughn
too-
sometimes.
That's a
do like-
mass-produced beer.
I love
yeah.
Red Stripe, but I hate that it comes in like a small
Jar.
bottle. You know, I just feel like it's not. I just rather have a full size. I always see like everywhere else in the world they have the tall cans of Red Stripe, but all you can
I
get.
like a Mickey's grenade time to time.
Uber Ninja Grand.
Good old
the
Mickey.
old-
you got a restraining order against Uber Ninja, dude.
What's that other one? Youngling? Youngling's tight in a bottle.
Yingling's good.
Yingling?
Yeah,
That's what it is. Yingling.
Can of Narragansett when I can find it.
Man, I can't.
We can't get Yingling out here, huh?
I was just talking to my dad on the phone today. He can't drink beer and no more, so he switched to Heineken no alcohol beer, and he said it's not bad.
Mm. Yeah, some of those aren't bad at all. Oh, that reminds me. Oh man.
He on the gum or can he smoke, your dad?
He can still smoke. I guess he shouldn't, but he can still.
Rolling Rock? You guys like Rolling Rock?
Not really.
It's like
Yes.
chicken, right?
I can do it. It's
Cool
you know,
can. I like the can. Like
if it
green.
was if I was headed to a cookout and I couldn't find any High Life and they had Rolling Rock, I would. That's a good substitute for something that like kind of just goes through and there's and yeah.
Yeah, Rolling Rock is I'm going to sit outside and drink 20 beers beer.
What about Schlitz? Schlitz is tight, no?
Schlitz is good. Hams is good. Schaefer's good.
Stroh's.
I don't like.
We're just naming every beer now.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just like you can go through
They're
this.
like name your top 5 beers, and we all just say 100 beers.
211.
And he means like top 5 just like generic beers. Like not these are supposed to not be like fancy beers. Like I like those hazies from Golden State.
Right.
or
Right.
whatever.
It is a. We're talking about something that's probably made in, Milwaukee,
Yeah, like
Lewis or.
when I was super broke and I needed my bang for my buck, I've done a few cans of Steel Reserve. It's a real bust stop beer.
That was
You know,
my
you
high
go-
school special. 32 a High Life and one of those, and I was
Yeah,
fucked.
or you get like a Panther Ice. When you're real broke, you just
The Mad
get
Dog.
you just go for the malt liquor and just get the highest.
Panther Ice.
I've done a couple Panther Ices.
I've drank so many 40s. It just
Bud Ice,
Iceman was good. And then
Mad Dog.
I actually figured out that the best flavor of all the malt liquor 40s was Country Club. I was drinking a lot of Country Club when I lived in Brooklyn
Mhm.
because it was a good deal. It was like $2.50 for a 40 at the bodega, and it went down real smooth. I made a list. I can live with it. I'm going to go with the High Life bottle, the Pacifico can, old school Budweiser, just straight up Bud. You don't like it?
I don't like Budweiser. No offense to all the Bud drinkers.
All my buds out there.
If it's just going to taste like nothing, I don't care what it is. I love the can. Old Milwaukee can, I'm going to say. And then I'm going to say Guinness, just like in the draft can poured into a pint glass.
It is weird to me that there was a period of time there where like the only Old Milwaukee you would find would be NA. Like Old Milwaukee kind of disappeared from the grocery store where I was, other than if they had, that was like one of the non-alcoholics that they always had.
It's still very true. Every single a grocery store, chain grocery store in LA that I've been to or outside LA all has NA, Old Milwaukee. The only place I've been able to find the regular beer since I've lived here was Sunset Beer. And they had cans for like 75 cents. And I'd go in there and just, they're pick a mix. So I just grabbed like 10 in a bag.
Yeah.
And then they stopped getting them because the distributor was lost. So there's not a distributor for Old Milwaukee, like the alcoholic beer
Yeah.
in LA. So you can't get it. But they
I will say,
I don't get it.
when I first got to LA and I was fucking selling shirts at Crossroads to try to fucking stay alive, I found at this Korean grocery store Hite, H-I-T-E, which you can also get at Dodger Stadium.
Yes.
I'll sometimes drink it at Dodger Stadium
That's
just for
a good
nostalgia.
beer.
But it was like $6 for like a 12-pack. So I was drinking a lot of Hite when I first arrived in LA because that was the fucking cheapest shit I could find.
Yeah, that just opened up a whole new door for me. Right now, I'm like Kieran's a sick ass little 6-pack you can get. That's a malt liquor that has a dragon on it. That's pretty sweet.
They would also have Sapporo cans at the dollar store for $1.
No, nice.
Was still the best deal at the Echo was the Sapporo can.
Oh yeah.
I love the Sapporo the bottle. That's because it's got like that texture to it. It always seems really cold for some reason. Like especially if you're at like a Korean barbecue spot or something, you get a Sapporo. Sometimes it's like that thing is frosty. Like that ultra cold. The same thing with Heights. A lot of they pride themselves in that shit being super cold because the food's so.
You could even get it with a slush. I think at Dodger Stadium sometimes you could get
Yeah,
it
they throw that foam on it.
of beer ice on top. But
Yeah.
Bernsey, was there anybody over on the Power Move side who had a query for the panel here?
We do have one, maybe two. Let's see.
Like, name your top 7 beers.
Carlsberg.
Better movie: Speed, Mortal Kombat, or True Lies. That's easy for me.
That's True Lies.
True Lies.
Yeah, True Lies.
Lies.
Then Speed. Then Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat's last.
I've never seen Mortal Kombat.
Oh, neither have I.
It's got some jokes.
Does it?
Well, I mean, like for being bad, like it's just a really bad movie.
And you know what? You can make a case for Speed. True Lies is very long, and it doesn't hold up quite as good as it used to. But Speed is kind of corny, but it's a nice, tight. Plus, Dennis Hopper's in it, and
R.I.P.
yeah.
I feel like Speed though is like you got to watch the whole thing because it's like a tight piece,
Yeah.
But True Lies, like you can pop that on TNT on a Saturday afternoon and just kind of flip it around channels, watch like a couple vignettes, move along.
Gandolfini too. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Gandolfini's in True Lies?
Isn't he? He's the guy that beats up. Who's the
can't
guy who just
remember.
passed away from Sopranos? But he roughs up. What's her face? Arquette in that one scene.
You're thinking of True Romance.
Oh fuck! What was the other movie you said?
If we're talking about True Romance, then that is by far
What was the one you said before?
the
Oh,
the
yeah.
Schwarzenegger movie.
I'm going to speed over that.
All right.
No, but what's her face is in it too, though, right?
Sandra Bullock,
Halloween, True Lies.
Oh,
Jamie
Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah,
Yeah.
and, yeah.
Yeah, True Lies won. True Lies won.
I don't think Gandolfini is actually even credited for that scene.
he's the best in that.
That sucks.
I think he was paid, but it was one of those things where he's left out of the credits. Like,
Yeah.
it's interesting. But that scene is so brutal, and
Yeah, he's frightening and
Man, scary as shit.
yeah.
Did anybody click on the? I haven't clicked on the link, but I've seen it a few times in the last couple days. The headline is James Gandolfini wanted to kick the shit out of Harvey Weinstein back in 2012. What?
Yeah, it was related to like Gandolfini didn't do talk shows. He didn't like doing talk shows, and Weinstein was like harassing him about doing Letterman or something. And he was on the set of like Sopranos or something, be like, "I'm gonna kick his fucking ass" and all this. So it,
I'll say this: when I was in New York, a woman that worked with me came in on a Monday and was like, she had been down sort of like near the meatpacking district, and she was like, the scooter with two guys, like, I don't know if it crashed into a car or just crashed on its own. And so they were looking, and a van rolled right up behind it, and everyone's gathering around. And on the scooter, on this little fucking scooter, was Gandolfini and fucking who's the Italy guy? Bertoli?
Mario Batali.
Batali, right. And I
Oh,
guess those guys had gone to college together and shit, but they had been at a party and got drunk and then ran out and jumped on this scooter and rolled down and fucking crashed. And so this van was like following them and was going like, delete that, like scooping them up and fucking whisking them away. But they had just like two huge dudes had like taken a joyride on some little fucking scooter.
that's kind of a bummer since Batali is such a piece of shit. But
Yeah.
maybe I'm gonna cross my fingers and say Gandolfini was on the level.
going
It
home.
seems chill.
I love the imagery of those two riding off on scooters. They're like the two fat guys from the Guinness Book of World Records.
The two brothers.
Dude, I'll say this: has anyone watched the first episode of Perry Mason yet on HBO?
No.
No, I just
Did not
watched the
watch
trailer.
All right, I'll just say this: there is a Fatty Arbuckle type character. I think that's kind of who it's supposed to be. That's not the name they use or whatever, but that's sort of who it is.
Right.
And
Chunky belt buckle.
well, he does there's a full frontal on this guy, and his dick is fucking gigantic. It's like comically
HBO, man. They
huge.
say the dog. HBO always shows the dog, man. Like every show, they gotta show the dog.
Love it.
This Perry Mason has a lot of
Hell yeah.
startling imagery. I'll say that. So,
I did watch the Roy Cohn documentary though. They just put on HBO.
what's that?
That Roy Cohn, was that his name? Roy Cohn? I thought it was David Cohn. I was like, I'm gonna watch this. I'm like, oh, this is about a lawyer.
Dude, you're like, yeah, he's on the Yankees and the Mets, and then this fucking
I was
lawyer in
like, oh,
New
he's talking
York.
about Studio 54. What's happening?
Yeah. Yeah, that guy's a piece of shit.
I
Mhm.
wanted to watch Perry Mason last night, but I was over the line. You know when you're over the line and it's like, man, I can't watch this now. Like, I'm not going to retain it. I'm not going
You'll
to.
just have to watch it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Switch TV to do that. Like, I can't burn a whole hour of TV. Like, I got to keep up.
Not in these times.
I did rock the whole F is for Family season 3, which I don't know if cartoons are your thing. I know it's Gnarly's.
I'm on 2 right now. We're smashing those yesterday
That fucking show, man.
or Saturday rather.
It's big laughs. Like, it's fucking outrageous.
Right on. Gentlemen, there we have it.
Hell
Monday
We're
yeah.
already
Night
done?
Unless you got something, Pop, you want to give us something? You want to regale us with something?
I don't necessarily have anything. It's just,
Anything bite you in the river when you were floating on that tube? Anything you want to tell us?
now I did, I bashed my foot a couple times, and, I just ate some hot dogs, ate a steak,
You got
had some beers, drank a bottle of whiskey, looked up at the stars.
Were you wearing your aqua socks?
I was, yes.
Oh, good.
Oh, dope.
So, and we went tubing down the river, and then didn't really
Right on.
see anybody, and not a bad night. It was good to get away out of all of the shit that's going on for like a day.
Premier League's back, so I got to be all pissed off yesterday in the morning. That was fun.
Gnarly,
Super shitty game.
I took Gnarly's advice. Finally, like, Gnarly's always heads up. This game's going to be good.
That game sucked.
Well, yeah. I finally sit down. Like, Melissa's got shit to go do. I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch a sporting event. Gnarly says this game is going to be dope. No one scored ever.
Unbearable. Not only that, though, it was just sloppy. It got me so annoyed. Like, I text Vince immediately as soon as it ended. I was like, I did not miss this feeling. Like, having just being – no, we got a draw, but that's not the point. Like, they should have beat the shit out of them. Didn't do it. And I'm just like, cool, now my Sunday's ruined. Like, my whole day was ruined yesterday. I was all fucked up from Masa the day before. Never get a medium with two people. Don't get a medium at Masa with two people, man. That's a bad time. I'm still paying for it today. I haven't eaten all day. I'm just drinking beer. Ugh.
I told Gnarly last time I went to Masa, I went with Brado, James Fritz, Jim Hamilton, and we got ripped at brunch. Like, I don't even know if we got food. Like, I think we just sat there and drank like these honey brown beers or something. Banged up. Then we went to the Gold Room. I've told this story before.
R.I.P.
We go to the Gold Room and commence to doing Gold Room specials, which are PBR and
Let me just say real quick, for those who don't know, the Gold Room was a wonderful bar in Echo Park that basically was the back of an 80s limousine.
Yeah.
The ultimate, like, go for it, Pop.
And it's where everyone I know who does cocaine goes to buy cocaine.
That, and then it was just the posers went to the shortstop before Dodger games. The real party guys, we went to the Gold Room, man. Free tacos. And then that special would be $4 to $3 sometimes before games.
It's crazy. And
Back to you, Burns.
You would be, like Gnarly said, great value in there. And you're filling up the jukebox with Ozzy Osbourne and Van Halen jams and things like that. We're having a good time. Drinking Sunday afternoon tequila shots, which I should not be doing.
Free tacos, too, sometimes.
Some ladies roll in. I guess they would be sex workers, and one of them was in charge. And she's like, hey, look, if you guys want to date later or something, and just she hangs out with us for a bit. Now, this is only like 8 o'clock at night. And shortly after speaking...
Wait. So you went from brunch to the Gold Room, and now it's 8 o'clock. I just want to be clear.
I got my wits about me. I'm having a good time. And
yeah, sounds like it.
you know I can rock all day.
I know.
You always have.
This woman's real shady, doing some weird shit. And the next thing I know, like, I'm waking up at home and I fucking have no idea, like, what happened in the last, like, couple, like, time. Like, it's the middle of the night. I'm out of it. I feel like I want to fucking die. Like, not a hangover, but, like, I want to fucking die. And I go into work. I've got to leave work because I think I'm going to die at the writer's room table in MTV. And Jim Hamilton that night, I talked to him later that day. Jim Hamilton left immediately after I did.
Another professional.
After speaking to these women. And he goes home. He makes it like he lives a half a block away from Goldberg. He woke up in the morning with his waist on his doorstep, with his door open and his feet hanging out. He slept all night. We were roofied.
Jesus.
You had to have been.
He couldn't go to work. Like, Jim Hamilton's gone to work 5,000 times hungover. Like, he doesn't like not go in because he's hung. He's a professional. He was deathly ill. I'm convinced we were roofied and we were trying to have our wallets stolen.
100%.
Wait, so did you get anything? Was anything stolen that you know?
No, I took off. I think the move was to get us to go to a second location after getting us in a weird headspace. Or to procure the services of one of these young women. And then that after these, whatever was tossed in my drink would get into my body. And then I would go out there instead of when I got home.
Or you just pass out right there in the Gold Room and they just...
Well, I mean, the other thing I'll say is when I've had a similar day, a lot of times the next day I'm like, I spent how much fucking money? So you may not even you might have, who knows? Yeah.
But just that imagery, man. Jim Hamilton passed out walking into his door and slept with his apartment door open to the street all night long.
Wow.
And that's not a bad neighborhood necessarily. But I wouldn't want to be laying there and passed out with my front door open.
You don't want to do
That's-
that anywhere.
That's
Yeah.
like the leaning on the door situation, right? Like you're leaning on the door as you're twisting and then just falling.
Done.
And there's one thing to pass out, but to stay there all night.
He's looking
Yeah.
at his head on anything, dude.
He's
Fucking,
roofied. He's
Wow. Fucking A. Gentlemen,
we did
All
it.
right, boys.
big ups.